was too good to me. How can I get along now?
Sorry.
So close she stood to me. Everything seems all wrong.
Yeah. At this point, I wish the album was a little bit happier, but none of the material really adds up to get happy. It's like something like. Yeah, I mean, it has to be something else. It can't be named Get Happy. Hotel is one, because we have so many guests on this album. Like, every song is a different singer, which I like. It could be like the album could be like an advent calendar, you know, where you've got the little windows with the guests inside, literally, like Rufus and Ari and Norman Layden and the Von Trapps and Storm and China and all the rest. I like the word, well, I was thinking gold as well, because that's the word that Rufus, in that song, Blue Moon, when he says the word gold and holds it for an excruciating length, it's like everything turns and it becomes this sort of tiny moment of hope, and sort of all this bleakness is then turned around, you know, inside that song, actually. And he holds that word, and then suddenly the room had turned to gold. Gold. It's amazing. I don't know, it could be called, I mean, it shouldn't be called anything too lofty. Like, the second album at one point was going to be called Songs for a Floating World. Thank God we could call it Hang On Little Tomato. Less to live up to. All right.
Pink Martini now feels like a traveling circus a little bit. Like, it's sort of, you never know what you're gonna get and who's gonna be there, and you could have anyone, and maybe it's this person, maybe it's that person, here's some more guests. Like, it's a big collective. And Thomas always wanted it to be that.
Je suis en colère avec toi ce soir parce que tu m'as dit que je suis à toi et je pense que tu es gros et je sais que tu es chauve et je pense que je ne t'aime plus.
I think Thomas has always enjoyed recording with different artists and bringing in guest singers, but this is the first album that really feels almost like a variety show. There's such a wide range of incredible performers on it. I was just sort of, ticking through in my head the various singers. There's China Forbes, of course. There's Storm Large, who took over lead singer duties while China was out and now sort of alternates lead singer duties with China. There's Rufus Wainwright. There's Meow Meow, the incredible performance artist. There's Timothy Nishimoto, the vocalist and percussionist who's been with the band forever. I sing on it. Phyllis Diller, her last recording before she passed away. The Von Trapps. It's this incredible range, as I said, almost like a variety show, and yet it has a cohesiveness as the album that I think is all really tied together with Thomas's aesthetic. The band is unquestionably a collaboration of these many people's artistic visions, but at the end of the day, so much of it is a reflection of Thomas's entirely unique aesthetic. I've never met anybody like Thomas who has such a compelling sense of what is beautiful. I think it's really an appreciation of beautiful things from the past that still feel relevant to the present, from other countries, but also from our own country. It's really sort of a global reach.
Thomas kind of had an idea of what the record was going to be, and then the record kind of took over, and it hasn't decided what it's going to be yet. I feel like the past records were clean, tidy, planned. They knew what they were going to be. They were very well planned out and executed. This one is a little more wild, still joyous, still gorgeous, 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 but a little more soul, a little darker.
The concept, at least at the time, was it'd be great to find the optimism despite the bleakness. Like, where is the hope? And so that was the sort of goal. As it turned out, the songs that I really gravitated towards were not exactly the most cheery songs or uplifting. I mean, they were uplifting, but in a devastating sort of way. So in January, I totally freaked out because there was not one shred of happiness anywhere in these songs. It was just pretty much torture. So I panicked and I thought, you know, I don't want to be ironic with the title. I don't want to, I don't want the whole thing to be ironic. I want it to be genuinely sort of uplifting somehow and happy in some way. And so it's taken a while, and I'm not quite sure if we're entirely there. That's the quandary. I think, that said, I think that this album is deep in thought, it's contemplative, and it is beautiful. And it's much more, you know, much more developed and mature than, say, The Innocence of Sympathique.
I kind of view myself as a facilitator. Thomas has the ideas, which are amazing, and he's an amazing collector of people, and he can bring them into a room at one time. But sometimes when everybody's there in the room, they need somebody to say, hey, everybody, stop talking, we're pressing record right now. That's something Thomas isn't too good at. That's maybe my #1 duty. Well, Stravinsky said there's no freedom without limitations. And we're kind of, we don't have, maybe we don't have enough limitations right now to really just like get this album done in a really fast, quick way. But sometimes it's more fun to not have limitations. It's certainly fun to hang out with the Von Trapps and Storm and China and Rufus and everybody.
Thomas, of course, in his usual way, you know, made it into reality. he has this sort of sorcererly power to, you know, just go ahead and, you know, make it happen. And it was a really wonderful opportunity to sing with China. She has a beautiful voice, and I've been an admirer of hers for a very long time. And she's also incredibly funny. She has a fantastic sense of humor, and that was pure joy to be a part of. So.
What I like the most about music, which is to articulate emotions that everybody feels, it makes it kind of universal, yet it's a pure pleasure. Even if it's a sad song, it's so beautiful that it's articulating sadness, but in an atmosphere of delicate and precious beauty. And so it makes the sad tolerable, and it takes the audience out of themselves and into kind of a fantasy world, rooted in history and rooted in reality, but it's joyous. It's joyous.
You know, I mean, the goal is just to have I like larger groups. And so, you know, like growing up in Indiana, I loved it when my parents entertained because the sound of laughter downstairs made me very happy as I was falling asleep upstairs. So I think that's very significant, actually. That sort of says everything you need to, like, I think that says it all, actually, for me. That sort of sums it up. Is that idea of happiness just around the corner, or kind of hope.